Good morning. How are you today? Good morning. How are you today? Today is Friday. Today is Friday, May 29th, and it is 10:15 a.m. Okay, so let me just start off by saying this before I go into my real subject. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like the things that I do. You don't have to like the things that I say. You don't have to accept what I do. And this is not a curtain, okay? This is the actual real scalp because I have plenty of them. Um, I'm not gonna change for anybody, right? And I know that I have seen some bloggers things and their little trolls that have said, little things about me, but I'm Denise. Some have been on my Facebook page and went through some of the things, and they talked about something, which that's fine with them, because I feel that the more that my haters say things, the better it makes me to be a better person. And I did from one of my previous videos, if you go back to it, of Hard Knocks. The more you the more you come at me, the more the hard knocks, the better it makes me as a better person, because I've been through the hard knocks life. So I know what that's about. You don't know what hard knocks is, okay? You don't know what it's like. You think that hard knocks mean just being out in the street and you sell a little bit of drugs or crack cocaine, or had a little bit of whiskey, or you didn't have a mother or father, you had to get out the street. That's not that's part of it. That's not the whole hard knocks, okay? So listen, um, I was listening to a video last night. I was in the bushes. I didn't say anything until later. And some of you had this thing about relationships and what you want to do in a relationship, right? What you be looking for. My thing is this: anything worth having is worth working for. And anything worth going after is being determined to go after for what you want. The Bible said that when a man finds a wife, he finds what? A good thing. Now, what does that mean? A good thing does not mean, or when he finds a wife, it does not mean her look. It's not, her hair is her glory, right? But it doesn't mean the outer appearance. Because you can see any woman out there that can be any kind of shape or form. But when you talk about a good woman, or when you talk about a good man, and my perspective, when I talk about want some desire of somebody, in my life, I'm talking about long-term relationship. What do I mean by long-term relationship? I mean the same way that we are out here fighting for the young man, Mr. George Floyd, right? We're protesting. But the energy that we put into this young man, which is right, we should be doing it as African Americans, because for so long, African Americans have been beaten and killed, and going back to hundreds and hundreds of years of our ancestors. And we are tired of the police officers or Caucasians are saying that the color of their skin make them who they are. Well, we don't have to just say them, because sometimes our own people feel like just because they have a little something, they feel like they're better than the next man, or they're better than the people they left behind. So the same energy that we put into all of that, we have to put into that energy of ourselves and what we are looking for into a relationship. Some people get into a relationship for several reasons. Some people want a relationship for benefits, whether it's for uh, benefits for your children, because you're thinking that this man's going to take care of your kids for the rest of your life, whether for insurance money, whether for inheritance. Some people get into it so they can have kids, and some people trap a man or so that they can get a baby, or women trap a man for a baby, and men trap women to have kids so that they figured that if they trap this woman and make this woman believe they get some of that and everything. Then when they break up, you got part of it. Some people really do love an individual. So when you say you love me, you love all of me. You don't just love the makeup that I have, the lipstick, right? The eyeliner, right? The foundation, my pressed on nails or your false nails or your long eyeshadow. You don't love that about me. You like that about me, but you don't love that about me. What you love is the woman that's on the inside of me. A woman that can stand by your side. What I mean by that, just like we are out here at protest of fighting for this man, Mr. Floyd, that's what a relationship should be about. When the storms come your way, you're working together. When hardships come your way, you're working together. When there's no food in your cabinetry, you're working together. When it's cold outside, you're working together. If the roof leaks, you're working together. You're not getting a third person involved. You're not running to the next man's house or the next woman's house to give you comfort. So that's what relationship is about. Someone said that someone made, and I listened to one of a blogger, a person said that they they have trouble finding someone. So I did get on and I said, the Bible said to wait. The word does say to wait. Now I'm going to take you to Corinthians, the 7th chapter, right? I'm taking you to Corinthians, the 7th chapter, with the starting with the 31st verse. And it says, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passes away. Because remember, the Bible said heaven and earth will stand, but God's word will stand. Yeah, okay. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried, care for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. What does that mean? That means when you are single, your relationship is only with God, with yourself. You don't have a second person with you. You're not worrying about no kids. You're not, if you don't have no kids. You're not in a relationship with a woman or a man that you're worrying about that other person. Because when you're in a relationship with God, your focus is on God and how you're able to please God and what God has for you to do. But when you get into a relationship, when you're married, then your relationship is going to divide. You know why? Because you're thinking of how to love God, but then please your wife. You see what I'm saying? God have a work for you to do, but then you say, well, God, I got this woman at home. I got to do this. And then in some incident, women feel that when they get into a relationship with a man, right, that they're going to change that man. So that goes right back to what I was saying about me. I may not be the way you want me to be. I may never be the way you want me to be. My hair, my clothes, my teeth, my body, my shape. I'm not going to never be that because God didn't ordain that. God did not instruct that. He knew about me in the womb of my mother. He knew about my structure and my body structure from a little girl to now. He knew all of that. He knew my beginning, my middle, and my end. He's the Alpha and Omega, right? So therefore, no man can come and try to change me, just like you cannot thinking that you could go change a man once you think you get married. If that man is used to, let me just use for example, if that man is used to playing video games and you think when you get married you're going to change him, that man is used to that. If that man is used to eating out of a pot, you don't go thinking that if I marry him, he's going to change. People change within time. People change because they want to change, not because they have to do to please you. So that's what it means that when you're married, you do things that please your relationship is divided between God and man, which means your wife or your husband. Let me go on. It says, there is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cares for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and spirit. But she that married care for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. So she cared for things that are out there, but being able to use it to please her husband. I love you, Lord, but then I also got a husband. Before there was a husband, God had you on a relationship with just you. So the same energy that we put into George Floyd, we should be able to put that energy into ourselves first, to examine us or who we are before we think about going out there and want to tie down. Wait on what God bless you, because when you do it, you messes up. And when you rush at it, you messes up. Right? When you do it, you mess up. When you wait on the Lord, God will never have you ignorant of his devices. And God is not going to give you mess, and he's not going to, because he doesn't bless in mess. And he's not the author of confusion. He's not going to send you something that he knows is not good for you. If we do send you something, let me tell you something, right? Let me explain something to y'all, because this is what you all think. This is what you say. I don't want a man, I'm using for example. What if God was to send you a man that didn't have a six-figure job? Let's say he just do construction, or maybe he works cutting grass, maybe, right? And he's not the best looking man, but he's somebody. He takes care of home. But see, you don't want that. You want the image that you see in the Essence magazine. You want the image that you see in the Jet magazine. You want the image that you see on Rolling Stones. You want the image that you see on a billboard. See, that's what you want. But see, if you read the Bible about Jacob, he wanted Rachel because Rachel was beautiful. But God had Jacob to work 7 years before he could get a Rachel. See, sometimes we have to go through something to get to where God has us to be. So when you talk about someone like me, about, she show her breast, she do this, she do, I'm just being Denise. I'm young and I'm enjoying me. You may not like what I do. You may not like the things that I do, but it's not about you. Because if I do get into a relationship, I want somebody that's going to enjoy what I do and not try to change me. Because it's just like a young man made a statement that he was in a relationship and tried to get a relationship, right? And the woman didn't like dogs, but he do because he has one. So let's just say that was kids. Some women don't like kids. Maybe because they can't have one. Maybe they just don't want to be in a relationship with it. They don't want that commitment, right? But you cannot, or she cannot, make that man get rid of his animal just because of the count that you don't have. Because you may get in a relationship with a man that's a ready-made family, meaning that his kids may not live with him, but he get visitation. And it's easy for a woman to say, oh, I love kids, or I've been there with kids and they're beautiful. But then when the time comes, as I used to say, put up or shut up, then there's problems. Because now you're saying, well, you spend more time with your child than me, and I'm your woman, and you need to give that child back to his mom and all that. See, that's the reason why you think about it before you get in a relationship. You ask God if that's the right person for you. It's the same thing like that dog. He loves animals. What if he was a bird watcher, right? What if he had a lizard in a tank? You can't say, well, I don't like lizard. Maybe you don't. But you don't make him feel like he have to get rid of something because you there. You have to accept it. Just like if you had kids or you have something, that man have to accept what you have to deal with. It's not about that the person doesn't love you. That's why I said, and the Bible was saying that when you're unmarried, your relationship is with who God. So you're able to example when we are children of God, we are spiritual of God. Our spiritual relationship connects to God. But the Bible said that the spirit, the flesh cannot see what the spirit sees, and the spirit cannot see what the flesh sees. See, for the things of the naked eye, what the naked eye doesn't see what the spiritual eye see, because the naked eye only sees what we see in the physical, but your spiritual eye sees something furthermore than what your naked eye is going to ever see. This is why I say you have to have a spiritual connection. We have to stand our ground, because if you have a vision and if you have a plan, you got to stand on it. And so for those of you that out here protesting and thankful, Mr. Floyd, that's power. Don't back up. And for my Caucasian people, we need your help to stand for us, because this is an eye opener to let you see that what African Americans have been going through for years. And it's the same thing in relationship. We talk about what the police brutality, but look what went into the African American community and families like that. You know, you got men who kill their wives because they lived a double life and somebody got to go. Or he had an affair and he didn't want that wife to know, so he gonna kill the whole family. So y'all feel me? Because I'm trying to teach y'all, help y'all with something. When I was married to my ex-husband, we was married almost 10 years. And I was just looking up now, figuring it's been like 17 years since we've been divorced. I enjoy every moment that I've been by myself. When I was married to him, I thought I had the knight shining armor. I didn't look at Ronald from what he looked like on the outside. I didn't care about the jeans and the hats because normally I dress like that. The very first day when I met him, I'm going to be honest with you all. When I met him, I had my hair pulled in the back. I think I had braids, that ponytail, and a pair of jeans and like a little t-shirt like this. And I was at my mother's house, and he was at his cousin's house that was across the street from my mother's house. And that was the day that I met him. I didn't go in no form of fashion. I didn't dress up. And every time he saw me, I was a normal person. Now, we went somewhere special or something. If that was the case, then I might have dressed up in somewhere. When we got married, I'm going to tell you what I had on my wedding day. I did not get married in a church. I got married at the Hampton County Courthouse. Amen. We got married. He only put nice jeans and a shirt, little boots or whatever, because we were Southerners. And I had on a dress. I had my hair done. Something plain. Because we knew that after that, my mother-in-law was having a cookout for us. So we got married by the Justice of Peace. So I was Denise, and I stayed the way I am, and man didn't change me. But I learned things as I went into my marriage. And it wasn't until maybe about 3 years after my marriage, after, the honeymoon and everything, things begin to develop, things begin to change, people begin to review themselves. I learned that my ex-husband didn't finish high school, because when I met him, I had already came out of high school going into college. And he was trying to tell me all kinds of things to keep me from going to school. And then that's when I learned that he didn't never finish 9th grade. See, y'all don't hear me. But it wasn't just about that. I'm not here to exploit anybody. What I'm saying is that 3 years, 2-3 years after we married, that's when abuse started. But it wasn't until then I had a child. My first. Well, I had a child before that, but then Ethan would have been my second. But what I'm saying is when Ethan came into the world, and we've been together for a long time. But one thing, my ex-husband, regardless of what mistakes he made or whatever thing he did, one thing he did do, he kept my head straight. You know why? Because all the things that we went through, they made me even a better person, a strong person. He was the one that taught me how to drive, and it was with um, a stick shift. That's how I learned how to drive my first car, because he had a stick shift. Him and I had the same car. He had a Buick Sabre, which was a blue. Mine was a Buick Sabre, which was red. His first car was a stick shift. That's how I learned to drive down there. My ex-husband don't mind working either. It didn't matter what kind of job it was, he don't mind working. Even though he may not give me a whole lot of money, but he made sure that bills were paid. Or if I had a job, I paid bills. I did what I had to do. But see, what we do, we sitting there, we want this man to do this and this and that. But what about you do? Even when I lived with my parents and we was in my house in Fairfax, and even when we was in the house that me and my husband had, I cut grass, I rake yard, I paint. Okay, I do a lot of the things that my mother do. Only thing that my mother is like, we call her like the tomboy family. When I say that, is because she been raised by, she has sisters. My aunts, my old aunt that's preceded to death with my grandmother. Um, my mother's the baby, and so my mother always liked being around her brothers and wanted to learn different things. The only two things my mother does not do is plumbing, and she does not do electrician. She leaves that to my uncles. But my mother will get out there and paint. My mother has put shingles on the room. My mother has put tar. My mother has laid bricks. My mother used to work with Polaroid and General Motors, built cars. Majority of everybody in my family worked with General Motors. Now that they're older and retired, I have a cousin that still work with General Motors, but he'll be retiring in a couple of years. But they moved him from Massachusetts to Virginia. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. To stand your ground. Stand your ground when opposition come your way. When people tell you what you can and cannot do. When people tell you that you can't make it, you can make it. But you just got to know how to stand your ground. You got to know who you are. Because you get into a relationship and thinking that this is going to change, going to better you. It's not. You got to put your mind in God and stand on what you believe in. Because you'll be falling in condemnation. And all through the hell that my exes have put me through and the abuse, I can say this. My exes will work. My exes will come home. You know, I never had to worry about food because my family always made sure I had. Now, Ronald may got a little stingy with some things, but that's all right. That's all right. Happy you all feel like you all have to go out there and get two jobs to take care of your house and a man. I stood my ground. You all see right now where they right now they arrested the officers, but they didn't even press charges on them. But I say that you all got to stand your ground. If you're gonna riot for something worth rioting for. If you're gonna stand for something that you believe in, even if it's in a relationship, stand for what you believe in. Don't be sitting there talking about I wouldn't want the woman because she got a dog and I'm gonna have to give her, or I can't be with that person because they got a cat, or no. I mean, you know your preference, what you have like. But sometimes God will put that person in your life for a reason. Maybe the Bible said a sanctified wife will sanctify a sanctified husband will sanctify a wife. So you never know what God has put you in that position to be able to be with that man, even though it's him and his cat or his dog. Because there's some things that the dog not going to be able to do that flesh human can do. So I'm asking you all, girl, you all, to love one another, to stand your ground. Because life is not a fairy tale. It's not something that you can just, you know, call it a day, and it's like this chewing gum here. You chew it and you spit it out. The Bible said, hot or cold, lukewarm, what? He'll spoot you out. Stop trying to say what you picking your preference of what man. Ask God to send you somebody that He wants you to have with. Because the Bible says in Corinthians, an unmarried woman or man pleases the Lord. But when you're married, your relationship changes. Amen. It's just like right here, what the thing with the government going through. You make decisions every day. Every day. If you're gonna be for righteous, be for righteous. My grandfather used to say that if you're gonna worry, why pray? Because whatever comes out, the outcome with these cops, it's gonna come. Don't think that they're not gonna get away. Don't think they're gonna get away with it. This earth is too powerful. This earth is too big, and God is just that powerful that the courthouse don't have a say so. If they don't go to jail, God has something for them at the end. When it's all said and done. So you're going to have to go through something. For every level, there's a devil. For every trial, there's a devil. People have called me all kinds of names in the book, even on YouTube. They have said all kinds of man things. But one thing they don't do, they talk to me behind a screen, but not to my face, personally. And the thing about it, what I want to say to you is that if you're not married or you're not if you have not had that totally experience, you can't tell nobody how to fix their marriage, how to comfort their marriage, or what to do. Having a baby mama, being a virgin, that's what you can stick with. Or being with a baby mama, brother. So the Bible says you have not because you ask not. But if you ask in a repentance prayer, then you're not going to receive what you ask for. Some things God delayed because for a reason. Maybe to get your attention. Maybe because it could be disobedience. Maybe because you're not ready for it yet. So again, stand your ground. It wasn't a fairy tale for me. It wasn't a fairy tale for me. I remember sister, the young man, again, they talked about this young lady. She's a YouTuber. And her and I used to battle. And like I said, they had the topic on me about hard knock. But I said, you know what? They don't know what hard knocks is. They don't know what the pain it was like. Having to sit there with your loved one all day long. See, it's easy for people to go to school and get an education, right? To be trained how to care for someone. Then it is totally different than when it is when you're actually in it every day for 365 days of a year. Y'all don't hear me, for 16 years. 16. When you can't go nowhere. You can't even go to the movies. You can't go to the park. You can't you might can go outside and just, some of y'all like to smoke a cigarette or talk on your phone. But other than that, you got to go back inside. Some of you don't know what it's like to be in a wheelchair, so you can't identify what a patient may be going through, because I've been there. And I'm not talking about some nurse bring me in a wheelchair to walk me out to some car when my visitor come. I'm talking about literally when I had casts on my legs. That's hard knocks. And when my grandmother got sick, I was there from the time my grandmother, mine was going with dementia to full blown Alzheimer's, and my grandmother was bedridden, bedridden. And when I say bedridden people, I mean my grandmother. Everything about my grandmother changed. I had to, when I say we, between me and my mother, we back and forth. Most times it was just me. We had to do everything for her. So it's a bad feeling when you wake up one morning and you can't feel your hands or your legs. It's a bad feeling when your back is itching and you can't scratch it because your hands is like this. When you want to talk and you can't say anything. So you imagine what George Floyd is going have went through when he's trying to gasp for air and breathe and he couldn't breathe. He's telling this evil man, "Sir, I can't breathe." All he had to do was take his knee up his neck. If you want to put a knee on his back, fine. Or butt, that would have been fine. He was already handcuffed, but not his neck. So I say, people, stand your ground. Know where you come from. Know who you are. Ladies, stand your ground. I don't mean go up there and stand your ground and get up beside your man head like this and then you get knocked in the head now. I don't mean that. But remember, if you're married, your relationship is going to be divided because you have a relationship with God and your husband. And be careful about what you ask about jumping and getting married and all this stuff or commitment in a relationship. That's why a lot of men don't want to be committed right now because they don't want that responsibility that you all thinking you're going to put on him or think that you want to change. And these men don't want to change so quickly. They're not mama's boys. Some of them are, but a lot of you think, well, he just want to be his mom. He just a mom boy. No, everybody is not on the same page. And a lot of men that just want a one night stand or just a relationship for as going out, that type. But they don't want the commitment of something for the rest of their life that they're not ready for. They don't want the lies. They don't want the game. They don't want to have to go to think that the devil going to put them through some stuff. Or you checking the phone, or you checking his t-shirt to see if his perfume is not like yours, or lipstick. Some men don't want that. So that's why I say, you ask the Lord for what you want, and you be specific with what you ask. And stop judging because God already predestined like he did Jeremiah. Get your Bible and you read. Take some notes. Because a family that stays together prays together. That's what you and your mate can do. Stand your ground. Like you standing here with Mr. George Floyd, keep standing for him. Keep standing for rights. Because some of you are mothers that got sons. Keep standing for him. But also stand for your rights too. So people, I'm getting sleepy, y'all. So people, live and learn. Stand your ground. Sometimes the boss might act crazy with you. Stand your ground. You are going to encounter men. You're going to encounter this Becky thing, this Me Too thing. But stand your ground. Stand your ground. The Bible says not to be weak and weary. What are you doing? So I just want to come on here and tell you that life is not a fairy tale. There are works. There are works that you have to complete. There's tests, there's trials, there's struggles that you have to go through. You're gonna have to share some tears sometime. You're gonna have to grieve sometime. Read Ecclesiastes, it's gonna tell you there's a time for everything. Amen. There's gonna be a time for everything. Read when you get ready to think about relationship, go to Deuteronomy or go to Corinthians, the 7th chapter. It will tell you what God expected. I think Paul written this, Apostle Paul, or what God expects. Especially if you're unsure. So I just want to tell you all that. And later on, I'm going to be talking about adolescence awareness and what to look for in adolescence, because once this, right now with this situation going to coronavirus, um, the George Floyd situation, that kids are going to be traumatized. And then it's a mixture combination that get your mind set up on this. There are things that these kids are going through too. So we look out for that. I will be on here and talk about that as well. I'm going to load it on my Facebook as well. I love y'all.